You guys have been asking me for a long time to show my reloading setup. So in today's video, I'm going to show you all of the tools I use to reload. Hope you guys enjoy the video. My real prized possession that I use to reload with has to be the Pacific Super Deluxe press. This has a lot of history. They don't get made anymore. You know, Pacific is no longer a company anymore. And well, I inherited this from my dad, who inherited it from his dad. So this is my grandpa's press, and from what my dad and I can best guess, he thinks my grandpa got the press either in the late 40s or the early 50s, and it just works. Is it the nicest press? No. Newer presses are just a lot better than this thing, but there's just so much history and it's just a blast to use, so I still use it. I have other presses. I know that might surprise you, but I choose to use this one because almost every single short I do for reloading, someone always mentions the Pacific press. A little history. I think this is accurate history. Pacific was bought out by Hornady, so that's why Pacific no longer exists, is it's really Hornady stuff. Let me show you the bottom half of the press, and you just pull up. It's got this old school looking handle. It does twist off, so you can take it apart, but that's it. Since I do not have a progressive press, I do need shell holders to put onto the press so that you could put the case in. I'm using all sorts of different case holders from each company's. I think 1 and 5, that's from Hornady. So 1 is basically most of your cartridges, 270, 30-06, 308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor. And then 5 is your Magnum. So this will work with 300 Rum, 300 Weatherby, 7mm Rem mag. All of your Magnum cases, this one should work for it. Here are all of my dies. So for the current cartridges I reload for, as you can see, I mostly get RCBS dies. They're not my favorite, but they're a good buy and they work. Are they the best? No, they're definitely not the worst either. A die I really like but can't really count on all the time are Lee, the RGB dies. I've had to replace my 30-06 one, and so I went with just an RCBS 30-06 because I had some problems with the decapping pin. But I really like this die when it works, when it, is durable. I just got Hornady dies. I don't have a ton of experience with them. They seem pretty good. I would say they're on par with RCBS. My favorite dies that are a little bit more expensive are probably Redding dies. Those are probably my favorite. But again, I go with RCBS because they're just a good value die. Let's take a look at my Lyman case prep trimmer. So this thing is pretty handy. You just screw it into the table. It works pretty darn well. It has a universal holder, so you can fit any case in there and then snap it like that. And then I have all the different size of caliber collets. I did have to buy a 25 caliber. This one does not come with 25 caliber. It does come with 9mm, 40mm, 45. It does also come with 6mm, not 6.5mm, 27 caliber, 28 caliber, and of course 30 caliber. Whenever you guys see me doing videos from my bench, which I do a lot of videos from the bench, I'm sure you have noticed the kind of disaster of brass in the background behind this Hornady beam scale. Well, what this is the brass that I've collected to do videos on. I obviously don't reload for all of these cartridges, and the easiest and cheapest way to get brass without having to get a huge amount is to buy the Hornady modified case. So this is brass used to find the lands in your rifle. and they range from like $5 to $10 per thing. So it's just an easy, cheap way for me to show you what the brass looks like without buying hundreds of dollars of ammo. This is the Lyman champering and deburring tool, and I really like it. It's really handy. It doesn't take up a lot of room like some of the machines that do it. So this is pretty sweet. This is my measuring caliber. It's really cheap. It was literally the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon. It was like 15 bucks. It's worked pretty well, and the only thing is the batteries have to be replaced like every 4 months. But other than that, it's been pretty good. This is my Lee powder measure kit. They come with the little cups and measurements. And what's fun is that you take this thing and match the powder, and it will tell you which cup to use. And so it kind of puts you in the ballpark of where you need to be for precision reloading. It is definitely old school. I still don't have an electronic powder dispenser. That might change in a little bit. But yeah, I use this Lee Precision powder measure kit. Almost forgot to mention the case lube that I use is the Hornady Unique case lube. This stuff's relatively inexpensive and it works the best for me. I've tried using Hornady One Shot and other sprays, and with this old press I still will get stuck cases from time to time. However, using this Unique case lube, I have not had a stuck case since. This is my powder trickler. I literally just bought the cheapest powder trickler I could find. If you're not seeing a theme here, it's very budget oriented. Just trying to spend the least amount of money. That's probably not the best for precision reloading, but it works for me. So this is probably the cheapest one you can get. It's from Hornady. You know, it's a small little capacity, but it works. The other things is I bought the cheapest powder funnel. I think this is made by Lee. I really like this, except for one thing. It will not fit on Magnum cases. So anything like 300 Win Mag, 7 Rem Mag, and bigger, especially like the Nosler or the PRC or the Remington Ultra Mag cases, it will not fit in there, and you will have powder coming out when you try to put it in. I found out that the hard way. So for my Magnum cases, I did get this RCBS powder funnel. Not my favorite. Powder gets kind of clogged up in the bottleneck part, much worse than it does with this Lee, but it will fit. Almost forgot to mention my Weatherby coffee cup, my coffee mug. So funny enough, I actually don't drink coffee, but I do use these coffee mugs to put my powder in, then use my scoops to put it into this tray. So I got my Weatherby coffee mug. Now let's talk about my beam scale. This is the Hornady one. It costs around $100. It's pretty good. It is magnetized, so when you get close to that specified weight, it will stop on that line over there, which is nice. It's good enough for me. It's not my favorite. Sometimes you do have issues with beam scales where they're not completely consistent, but I've found them to be probably the most consistent out of what I've used. For a time, I switched to this Lyman electronic scale, and for a little bit it worked awesome. It matched the weight of the Hornady beam scale, but in the last couple weeks this thing is just kind of gone crazy. It just isn't consistent and it's not reliable, unfortunately, so I have gone back to using the Hornady beam scale. Lastly, I have the Frankfurt Arsenal reloading tray. This one, it works. I like the color. I think that's why I got it, and it was cheap. So it's nice because it fits Magnum cartridges, standard length cartridges, and then it has a little slot for smaller cartridges like 223 or 204 Ruger, those kind of things. It fits, I believe, 50, but it works. I like it. Lastly, let's talk about my bench. I'll be the first to admit, and I get comments all the time, it's not ideal. It's not a very good bench. This is just a desk that my brother gave me. I am looking to upgrade this, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months, to something a lot more solid and sturdy, but it's worked. It's kind of been the theme, is I don't have the nicest stuff, I don't have the best stuff to get precision, but it's good enough for me. I get plenty of good accuracy out of my hand loads, I get great velocity, and it beats factory ammo, so I guess that's all that counts, right? So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.